Have you ever paused to wonder what mysteries the deep ocean might be hiding? Not just in terms of strange creatures or towering underwater mountains, but in the realm of things so small they're invisible to the naked eye. Beneath the waves, an unseen world thrives. A microscopic universe of viruses and diseases that could shape the future of ocean life in ways both fascinating and terrifying. The ocean isn't just a vast expanse of blue. It's a living, breathing ecosystem teeming with life forms, some of which have evolved complex ways to infect, survive, and sometimes even control other organisms. As we dive deeper into this hidden realm, prepare to meet the ocean's invisible yet potent inhabitants. Viruses and microbes that challenge our understanding of life and hint at secrets wrapped in mystery and dread. Imagine the ocean as a vast, silent battleground. Here, microscopic invaders wage war on creatures big and small, sometimes causing outbreaks that ripple through the ecosystem with devastating consequences. One chilling example that has puzzled scientists is the sea star wasting disease, a phenomenon where sea stars seemingly dissolve into mush, losing limbs and eventually vanishing altogether. Initially a baffling mystery, research pointed to a bacterial culprit, Vibrio pectinicida, thriving in warmer waters, quietly spreading its deadly influence. It's as if these invisible microbes possess a sinister magic, turning charismatic ocean guardians into ghostly remnants. What could cause such transformation? And what does it mean for the rest of the ocean's delicate web of life? Take a moment to consider viruses, the simplest yet most intriguing biological entities. Unlike bacteria, viruses aren't truly alive by themselves, but their ability to hijack the machinery of other organisms makes them formidable puppeteers of life. The ocean hosts an astonishing diversity of these viral entities, many still unknown to science. Some of these viruses infect tiny plankton, the microscopic plants and animals that form the ocean's foundations. When viruses kill plankton in massive numbers, they can trigger a cascade of effects on carbon cycling and the entire food chain. But what about viruses that infect larger animals? Recent discoveries reveal some ocean creatures suffer from strange transmissible cancers, nearly alien diseases that spread like contagions among shellfish, blurring the lines between what we consider cancer or infection. The ocean's microscopic world is stranger and darker than we might dare imagine. What happens when the oceans themselves change? Warming temperatures, acidification, and pollution create an unpredictable environment, potentially fueling the rise of new diseases and altering ancient microbial relationships. Picture this. As ice caps melt and currents shift, viruses and bacteria hitch rides to new territories, encountering hosts they never met before. These novel interactions can birth new forms of disease, like unseen monsters born from the ocean's shifting chemistry. This evolving battlefield may foster pathogens more adapted to a future ocean's challenges. The question lingers ominously. Could these microscopic agents lead to outbreaks beyond our control, painting the ocean in shadows of unseen epidemics yet to come? Venture further into the abyss, and you encounter creatures beyond imagination, some already hinting at how disease and viruses shape evolution itself. Viruses can transfer genetic material between species, acting as secret architects of life's diversity beneath the waves. What might future ocean fauna look like when influenced by viruses that introduce radical genetic changes? Picture bizarre, unfamiliar life forms with eerie bioluminescent features or grotesque appendages, each a product of hidden battles between host and pathogen. It's a wild, speculative vision, yet rooted in real science showing how life evolves, and sometimes mutates under pressure. In the ocean's future, viruses might not just cause disease, but craft the very forms of life that inhabit the deep, turning the ocean into a realm of living mysteries both wondrous and unsettling. But why should we care about these invisible actors beneath the waves? Beyond their profound influence on marine ecosystems, ocean viruses and diseases could profoundly impact human societies. Many coastal communities rely on the sea for food, medicine, and economic life. An outbreak among key species might ripple up the food chain, affecting fisheries and livelihoods. Moreover, as oceans warm and human activity invades new marine frontiers, the risk of unfamiliar diseases crossing from sea creatures to humans could rise, presenting new challenges to global health. It's an unfolding story of connection between the tiniest of life forms and our own fate, and a reminder that even the smallest creatures in the ocean can echo loudly on the world stage. As we close this chapter of Unseen Ocean Worlds, we find ourselves confronted with a paradox. The ocean is both a cradle of life and a shadowy domain of microbial menace. What we don't know is immense, and with every new scientific discovery, the line between curiosity and fear blurs. Will the viral and microbial forces beneath the ocean's surface remain silent threats, or will they evolve into new mysteries that challenge our understanding and survival? The sea is vast and ancient, yet the story of its microscopic life is still unfolding. Dark, intricate, and full of chilling surprises that may one day shape the future of life on Earth. So, next time you gaze out over the ocean's shimmering surface, remember that beneath that calm exterior lies a vast and enigmatic world of viruses and diseases, quietly shaping the present and future of the oceans. This hidden world calls to our imagination with stories of microscopic battles, eerie transformations, and evolutionary wonders. It reminds us that while the ocean's surface may sparkle with light and life, its depths hold secrets known only to the tiniest and most mysterious of creatures. Secrets that we are only beginning to understand, and that might haunt us for generations to come. Have you ever imagined the ocean as a place of hidden terrors and invisible enemies? Beneath the surface, something strange and ominous has been quietly unfolding. A mysterious epidemic that has been decimating sea stars along the Pacific coast, wiping out billions of these once abundant creatures. Known as sea star wasting disease, this cruel illness causes sea stars to develop lesions, lose limbs, and finally dissolve into a grotesque pile of goo, leaving behind a haunting spectacle of the ocean's vanishing sentinels. For over a decade, scientists were puzzled by this bizarre outbreak, unable to pinpoint the cause of what quickly became the largest marine epidemic ever documented among non-commercial species. Why were these starfish, the beloved icons of tide pools and kelp forests, simply melting away? What unseen force could wield such destructive power beneath the waves? It wasn't until recently that researchers uncovered the dreadful culprit, a bacterium named Vibrio pectennicida. This bacterium belongs to a notorious family that has inflicted widespread damage on coral reefs, shellfish, and even humans, with some relatives causing deadly diseases like cholera. Vibrio pectennicida, however, had remained an elusive fiend until scientists isolated it from the coalomic fluid, the watery substance surrounding the sea star's internal organs, of the dying animals. This discovery was the product of a grueling 4-year scientific detective story, involving genetic sleuthing, laboratory experiments, and comparisons between healthy and sick sea stars. The evidence grew irrefutable as researchers observed that those infected with this bacterium invariably developed the wasting symptoms and perished within days. In one chilling experiment, nearly all healthy sea stars exposed to Vibrio pectennicida soon exhibited the disease, leaving only one survivor exposed to the lowest dose, confirming this microbial assailant as the agent of death. This bacterium's modus operandi is as ruthless as it sounds. Upon infecting a sea star, Vibrio pectennicida secretes potent toxins, possibly aerolacin-like molecules, that appear to dissolve the animal tissue from within, initiating a slow and agonizing melting process. First, lesions erupt on their arms, seemingly random at first but spreading rapidly until the sea star's body contorts and bursts apart. It's a grim metamorphosis that transforms these majestic creatures into nightmarish shadows of themselves. Such a macabre fate is not only horror writ large beneath the waves, it has profound ecological consequences. Sea stars, especially species like the sunflower sea star, are keystone predators. Their mass disappearance triggers a domino effect, allowing sea urchin populations to explode unchecked, which in turn devastates kelp forests that serve as vital habitats and carbon sinks. The oceans are not just losing animals, they are losing crucial gears in an intricate ecological machine. What makes this bacterial outbreak even more unsettling is the cold truth about its relation to our warming oceans. Scientists have noticed a distinct pattern. Outbreaks worsen and spread more aggressively during warmer months, especially in summer and early fall. Rising ocean temperatures, a consequence of climate change, seem to provide Vibrio pectinacida with the perfect conditions to flourish and strike. But why? Like many bacteria, Vibrio species thrive in warmer waters, multiplying rapidly and outcompeting other microbes when temperatures climb. This lethal synergy means that global warming isn't just changing weather patterns or melting ice. It's also turning our seas into breeding grounds for invisible killers. This realization adds a foreboding layer to the story, suggesting this epidemic might be a dark preview of a future where marine diseases become more frequent and damaging. Yet despite the grim outlook, the mystery surrounding the origin of Vibrio pectinacida's outbreak persists. Where did this bacterium come from? Why did it suddenly erupt with such devastating intensity along thousands of miles of coastline? Scientists speculate that the bacterium might be native to ocean ecosystems, usually kept in check by natural microbial balances. But disturbances such as warming waters, pollution, and overfishing can weaken those checks and balances, allowing pathogens like this to rise unchecked. There's also the eerie possibility that ocean currents or human activities transport such pathogens to new areas, turning once safe habitats into battlegrounds. These questions remind us that beneath the seemingly serene ocean surface, microbial wars play out, wars often invisible but devastating in their ripple effects. The story of the sea star wasting disease is a cautionary tale about the fragility of ocean ecosystems and the delicate microbial relationships that maintain their health. It reminds us that in the natural world, tiny and unseen entities can wield massive influence, shaping the fate of entire species. As scientists continue their investigations, efforts are underway to find ways to help sea star populations recover and to better understand how to control or mitigate the effects of such diseases. However, the shadow of climate change looms large, offering little respite. This is a call to think deeply about how human actions intertwine with natural processes in ways that can unleash biological disasters beneath the waves. From a broader perspective, this outbreak exemplifies a frightening truth about the ocean's future, that diseases and epidemics might become the norm rather than exceptions. As environmental pressures intensify, the ocean's unseen microbial world could shift, giving rise to new pathogens targeting not only sea stars but myriad other marine species, compounding ecological stress. What lives deep in the oceans today might be benign or beneficial, but tomorrow, it could mutate into forms that trigger fresh episodes of wasting, bleaching, or mass die-offs. The ocean's future is intertwined with these microscopic agents, and its balance precariously teeters on what we do next as stewards of our planet. So when you next look out at the ocean, shimmering under sunlight, remember that beneath that calm facade, a hidden war is waging. A war fought not with teeth and claws, but with bacteria and viruses, with consequences that ripple far beyond what we see. The sea star wasting disease stands as a chilling example of just how deep and mysterious the ocean's dangers can be, blending the eerie with the real science with a touch of horror. It leaves us with the unsettling awareness that even the creatures we think are immortal icons of the sea might be vulnerable in ways we are only beginning to understand. And in that mystery lies a profound call to respect and protect the fragile and complex life lurking beneath the waves. Have you ever heard of cancer that can spread like a contagious disease in the ocean? It sounds like pure science fiction, but the reality lurking beneath the waves can be even stranger and darker. Some marine animals, especially shellfish such as clams, mussels, and cockles, suffer from what scientists call transmissible cancers, rare forms of cancer that can pass from one creature to another through seawater, almost like a viral infection. Imagine cancer cells breaking free from one host, swimming in the water, and invading a new victim's body, where they grow uncontrollably, just like a parasite. It's a haunting idea. Cancer that's not just a personal killer but an infectious agent, spreading silently across the ocean floor. These transmissible cancers have forced scientists to rethink what cancer is and how diseases might travel in marine environments. The phenomenon of contagious cancer was initially discovered in land animals, such as the infamous Tasmanian devil, where a facial tumor disease spread aggressively through populations, threatening to wipe out this iconic marsupial. Later, researchers turned their gaze to the oceans and made an astonishing discovery. Shellfish populations around the globe host similar transmissible cancers. These cancers behave differently from those we know on land because the ocean is a wild, interconnected ecosystem where water can carry living cells over vast distances. This means a single cancerous clone can transcend individual animals, hopping from one host to the next, and even crossing species barriers. The idea is chilling yet captivating. Microscopic cancer legions floating invisibly beneath the waves. One dramatic example comes from mussels inhabiting far-flung coasts of the northern and southern hemispheres. Scientists found that genetically identical cancer cells had spread more than 7,000 miles, affecting mussels in both Europe and South America. This discovery revealed that these cancers can not only survive but also travel extraordinary distances across oceans, hitching rides on water currents and infecting new populations ready to fall victim. The cancer, originating in bay mussels, even jumped species, infecting related but distinct mussel species, defying previously accepted boundaries between hosts and shattering assumptions about disease transmission. It's like a ghostly underwater epidemic, invisible yet unstoppable. But how exactly do these cancer cells spread between shellfish? The answer lies in the feeding habits of these creatures. Clams and mussels are filter feeders, constantly pumping large volumes of seawater through their bodies to extract plankton and nutrients. Unfortunately, this process also sucks in free-floating cancer cells. These rogue cells evade the shellfish's limited immune defenses and take root inside new victims, multiplying and eventually overwhelming them. The cancer disrupts normal cell function, leading to a leukemia-like disease where cancer cells flood the bloodstream and organs, ultimately causing death. It's a haunting reminder that the ocean's tiniest inhabitants are locked in a grim battle, not just with predators, but with microscopic invaders of their own kind. The spread of these transmissible cancers is worrying from an ecological standpoint. Shellfish are key players in coastal ecosystems, providing food for other marine creatures, filtering water to maintain clarity and quality, and supporting human fisheries and economies. When widespread cancers hit these populations, the effects ripple through the food web. Declines in shellfish can alter seafloor communities, decrease water quality, and disrupt the delicate balance between species. Understanding this strange, cancer-driven disease dynamic is vital to protecting both biodiversity and human interests. Yet, the more we learn, the more questions emerge about how these contagious cancers will evolve and whether they might become more common in the future ocean. Interestingly, the discovery of transmissible cancers in the ocean upends traditional medical thinking. Unlike most cancers, which arise from mutations within a single individual and stay confined there, transmissible cancers function like clonal parasites that propagate by moving between hosts. This blurs the lines between disease and parasite, inviting a new way of thinking about marine microbiology and pathology. It also showcases the ocean as a kind of enormous petri dish for evolutionary experiments, where novel strategies of survival and transmission emerge. But the eerie mechanics behind these diseases, how they start, how they navigate immune systems, and their potential to jump species, remain partly shrouded in mystery. What does this mean for the future? With changing ocean temperatures and increasing human impacts, the risks of such diseases spreading might rise. Warmer waters can weaken immune responses in marine creatures, and pollution may destabilize ecosystems, creating more opportunities for pathogens and rogue cancer cells to flourish. We could face more frequent and widespread outbreaks, with diseases jumping barriers and triggering die-offs among ecologically and economically important species. It's a sobering prospect that adds another layer of complexity to our efforts to understand and protect ocean life in a rapidly changing world. So, next time you pick up a clam on the beach or gaze into a tide pool, remember that embedded within these simple creatures is a world of astonishing biology and unsettling mysteries. Transmissible cancers remind us that the ocean is not just about grand and beautiful creatures, but also about invisible battles waged at the cellular level. These stories are a sobering blend of horror and wonder, highlighting the fragile and often eerie balance that sustains life beneath the waves. And as we continue to uncover the ocean's secrets, one thing becomes clear. The sea's mysteries are far from fully told, with every discovery deepening our sense of awe and unease. What if the ocean was no longer the vast, stable cradle of life but a realm undergoing terrifying transformation? Climate change is driving rapid and profound changes beneath the waves, and among the most enigmatic is ocean acidification, a silent chemical shift that could reshape the future of marine disease. When excess carbon dioxide from the atmosphere dissolves into seawater, it forms carbonic acid, lowering the ocean's pH and making it more acidic. Imagine this as creating a corrosive environment where shells dissolve and fragile skeletons crumble. This invisible but relentless shift is already altering the very chemistry of the sea, with sinister consequences for marine organisms and the diseases that affect them. Imagine the homes of countless marine creatures, their shells, skeletons, and protective barriers, softening and breaking down as ocean acidification progresses. Animals like corals, mollusks, and some plankton rely on calcium carbonate to build their structures. But the increasing acidity reduces the availability of carbonate ions, essential building blocks for shells. This means an oyster larva struggling to emerge can have its shell eroded even before it fully forms, a vulnerability that spells disaster for populations. The metaphorical walls of these underwater fortresses are crumbling, exposing creatures to new threats. It's as if the ocean, once a fortress of biodiversity, is starting to leak, creating weak points ripe for disease outbreaks. This chemical warfare doesn't just affect individual species, it destabilizes whole ecosystems. Coral reefs, for example, rely on the delicate balance of calcifying organisms to build their majestic structures, which in turn shelter a vast array of marine life. As corals weaken and die back, their vibrant ecosystems fade, leaving behind barren rubble and algae overgrowth. Species relying on these reefs lose their habitats and food sources, creating a ripple effect that extends far beyond the corals themselves. This fragility invites opportunistic diseases to thrive, preying on stressed and weakened marine populations. In a more acidic ocean, some diseases may find easier hosts, triggered by the disruption of natural defenses and habitat loss. But acidification's impact goes beyond mere physical damage to shells. The stress of living in a more acidic environment affects marine organisms' metabolism, reproduction, and immune systems. Like us, when animals face constant environmental stress, their ability to fight off infections can be compromised. This means pathogens, from viruses to bacteria, may encounter less resistance, making diseases both more frequent and severe. A fascinating example involves sea urchins and other echinoderms, which show slower growth and weaker defense mechanisms under acidic conditions. This perfect storm of weakened hosts and changing environmental factors could accelerate the spread of marine diseases, further destabilizing delicate food webs. Ocean acidification also alters the behavior and physiology of tiny, yet ecologically vital organisms like plankton and microbes. These microscopic life forms form the foundation of marine food webs and play critical roles in carbon cycling and nutrient recycling. Acidified oceans disrupt plankton development, with many producing thinner, more fragile shells, vulnerable to predation and environmental shifts. Even more intriguingly, changes in microbe communities may shift the balance between harmful and beneficial bacteria, influencing disease dynamics in marine animals. Think of it as a microscopic battlefield where the rules are changing, and opportunists might grab new chances to invade and infect. Adding to the mystery, new oceanic diseases are emerging in ways partly linked to acidification and warming. Pathogens that once had limited ranges now extend their territories as environmental conditions become friendlier. The spreading epidemics among sea stars and shellfish, previously discussed, are only the beginning. The ocean's dark future might see more pathogens evolving novel adaptations to survive in acidifying waters, evolving alongside their hosts with unpredictable results. Imagine diseases that could jump species barriers easily or persist invisibly in weakened populations, whispering threats beneath every wave and current. Contemplating the future ocean, one might picture strange, mutated organisms shaped by diseases that thrive in these unfamiliar conditions. Evolution could be forced into rapid, unpredictable responses as species struggle to survive amid increasing acidity and infection risks. Some creatures may develop thicker shells or chemical defenses, while others might succumb or mutate into forms we can hardly imagine today. This biological tension creates a cloak of mystery and suspense around the ocean's fate, suggesting a story where adaptation, infection, and environmental change intertwine in complex and chilling ways. Ultimately, ocean acidification is more than a chemical shift. It's a catalyst for ecological upheaval and disease evolution. It challenges the resilience of marine species, from the smallest plankton to the largest coral reefs, and threatens to rewrite the rules of survival beneath the waves. This ongoing transformation urges us to rethink our relationship with the ocean and consider how our carbon emissions ripple through these hidden worlds. Are we prepared for the consequences of a changing ocean, where diseases evolve in ways both familiar and alien, and where resilience may be pushed to the breaking point? The story of ocean acidification is one of mystery, danger, and the unknown challenges lurking beyond the horizon. So, as you gaze out to the ocean's shimmering surface, think not only of its beauty but also of the unseen chemical battles and microscopic dangers gaining strength beneath. The acidifying seas hum with changes that could shape marine life and diseases for centuries to come. This silent transformation, marked by shell erosion, weakened defenses, and emerging pathogens, holds lessons in fragility and interconnectedness. It reminds us that the ocean's future is deeply entwined with our actions today. And as we listen to the ocean's whispers of change, we are called to face the unknown with curiosity, respect, and urgent resolve. To explore how future ocean changes shape the evolution and spread of diseases, the narrative will first establish the environmental shifts occurring in the oceans, particularly climate change, warming, and acidification. Next, it will examine how these changes create new vulnerabilities in marine life, disrupting natural balances and facilitating disease outbreaks. Then, it will delve into the ecological consequences of these outbreaks, focusing on species interactions and habitat disruption. Following this, the narrative will highlight the interplay between host susceptibility and pathogen adaptation in altered conditions. It will then speculate on the possible emergence of novel pathogens and the risks they pose. The narrative will introduce vivid, scientific speculation on how these forces might drive unusual evolutionary scenarios in marine organisms. Finally, it will close by reflecting on the mystery and uncertainty of these changes, stressing the importance of understanding and stewardship for the ocean's future. Imagine a future ocean shaped profoundly by climate change, where warming waters, altered chemistry, and pollution combine to form an unpredictable habitat. These shifts weaken marine species, corals bleach, cold water creatures retreat, and the balance between predators and prey becomes unstable. In this altered arena, diseases find fertile ground. Pathogens that once posed little threat now exploit stressed hosts whose immune defenses are compromised. The interplay between environment and biology creates a brewing storm, unseen by most but reshaping ecosystems invisibly and inexorably. These changes ripple through the ocean's food web, turning what once seemed stable into a theater of evolutionary conflict and mystery. Rising ocean temperatures do more than shift species ranges. They alter the very biology of marine organisms. Warmer waters can accelerate the metabolism and reproductive cycles of some microorganisms, including harmful bacteria and viruses. At the same time, heat stresses marine animals, making them more susceptible to infection. For instance, corals already struggling with heat stress become vulnerable to bacterial diseases that spread rapidly in warm conditions. This is a dangerous feedback loop. Stress invites disease, which causes further decline and opens niches for new microbes to invade. On the larger scale, these outbreaks can decimate populations, destabilizing ecosystems and triggering cascading effects. Ocean acidification compounds these issues by chemically altering the water, making it harder for many animals to build shells and skeletons. But it also affects microbial communities associated with marine organisms. Acidified conditions can encourage the growth of pathogenic bacteria, tipping the balance of normal microbial flora toward disease. Studies have found that bacterial pathogens like Vibrio species become more infectious and abundant in low pH environments. This suggests that acidification is not just a physical threat, but also a chemical invitation for disease emergence, increasing the odds of outbreaks that could devastate marine populations already under stress from warming. The complex dance between host and pathogen becomes even more intricate when multiple stressors intersect. Pollution, Overfishing and habitat destruction reduce biodiversity and resilience, further weakening species' defenses. Some pathogens might evolve to exploit these new vulnerabilities, becoming more virulent or capable of infecting new hosts. For example, diseases can jump between species, threatening species previously thought safe, and accelerating evolutionary arms races beneath the waves. This dynamic interplay creates an oceanic mystery. Pathogens, hosts, and environments continuously adapting and counter-adapting, shaping the future of marine life in ways we can barely predict. These pressures force marine organisms to evolve rapidly or perish. Viruses and diseases may influence this evolution in remarkable ways. Viruses, for instance, can transfer genes between species, introducing novel traits that alter behavior, immunity, or morphology. Some marine animals might develop resistance mechanisms or new symbiotic relationships with microbes to survive. Others could become genetically altered in strange and unexpected ways, evolving into forms shaped by their microbial and viral environments. This scientific speculation opens the door to imagining bizarre, future sea creatures whose survival hinges on their relationship with disease agents, blending horror and wonder in their evolution. While much remains unknown, we can foresee the emergence of new pathogens or changes in existing ones driven by the altered ocean conditions. Hidden outbreaks might become more frequent, or diseases might evolve mechanisms of stealth and rapid spread unlike anything recorded before. Such scenarios conjure images of an ocean transformed, where microbial life not only threatens but also sculpts the macroscopic inhabitants of the sea. The horror lies not just in disease, but in the unpredictable evolutionary gambits playing out in the dark, deep waters, reflecting the ocean's ancient and ongoing strife with its invisible inhabitants. Ultimately, the story of ocean changes and disease evolution is one of mystery and urgency. The oceans hold untold secrets about life's adaptability and fragility in the face of rapid change. They force us to confront the unknown, to wonder about the future of ecosystems under stress, and to recognize our role in shaping this destiny. The more we learn, the clearer it becomes that viruses and diseases are not just threats but integral players in oceanic evolution. Silent forces molding the oceans of the future in ways both fascinating and frightening. Understanding this complex narrative is vital, for it is a story still unfolding, rife with awe, dread, and the profound beauty of natural resilience amid chaos. Have you ever wondered how viruses and diseases might shape the ocean's future like silent architects of evolution? Beyond causing illness and death, these tiny agents may drive radical genetic changes and strange adaptations in marine life. Viruses don't simply destroy their hosts. Sometimes they integrate into their genomes, shuffling genes and sparking mutations that can lead to novel traits. Imagine underwater creatures that carry within them the legacy of viral influences, genetic whispers that change eye shapes, luminescence patterns, or even radical structural features. This invisible genetic tinkering adds a layer of eerie mystery to how life beneath the waves might evolve in the centuries to come. Viral gene transfer is a well-known phenomenon on land and in microbes, but the ocean's immense viral diversity supercharges this process. The sheer number of viruses, estimated in the millions per milliliter of seawater, forms a vast reservoir of genetic material. Viruses can act like genetic couriers, hitching rides between different species and ecosystems, spreading beneficial or harmful genes alike. This results in an evolutionary dance where hosts develop resistance or new functions while viruses evolve new strategies to infect. This unseen, microscopic game plays out constantly, knitting an ocean biosphere that's pliable, dynamic, and sometimes frighteningly unpredictable. Some fascinating examples already hint at this viral influence. Certain marine viruses carry genes that enable photosynthesis in their hosts, allowing host organisms to tap into sun energy more efficiently. Other viral genes can modulate metabolic processes or affect immune responses, altering survival chances in rapidly changing environments. One can picture strange marine creatures in the future whose very survival depends on viral symbiosis, where the line between parasite and partner blurs. This concept borders on science fiction yet is firmly anchored in molecular biology research, revealing a mysterious world of genetic exchange shaping evolutionary paths beneath the waves. On a larger scale, diseases can act as powerful selective forces, pruning populations and encouraging the rise of resistant individuals. Over time, this can lead to the emergence of species with eerie adaptations. Thicker skins, toxic biochemicals, or bizarre appendages evolved as defenses. Viruses might even induce mutations that produce entirely new traits, giving rise to bizarre creatures that seem alien to us today. Imagine glowing, armored sea dwellers, or bioluminescent predators whose hunting strategies are viral-inspired. These speculative creatures blend an awe-inspiring natural artistry with a faint undercurrent of horror, the biological unknown made manifest. But the ocean's evolutionary future will not be shaped by viruses and diseases alone. Environmental stressors like warming waters and acidification work in tandem with microbial forces, creating complex evolutionary pressures. Stress weakens host defenses, making diseases more prevalent and dangerous. In response, marine organisms may evolve rapidly or face extinction. The interplay between disease and environment acts like a high-stakes crucible, forging new life forms while eliminating others. This evolutionary pressure cooker adds drama and unpredictability to the ocean's future narrative, inviting us to imagine creatures both wondrous and unsettling. The broader implications of viruses shaping evolution ripple far beyond biology. If viruses influence forms and functions of marine life, they also impact ecosystem dynamics, affecting food webs, nutrient cycles, and habitat structures. Altered species behavior and survival strategies can cascade through ecosystems, changing predator-prey relationships and competition. This means viral evolution could ultimately influence the stability and productivity of entire marine habitats. It's a reminder that the invisible genetic game played by viruses underpins much of what we see above the waves and depends on the ocean's mysterious complexity. As we peer into the future of ocean life, the role of viruses and diseases as evolutionary drivers challenges our sense of control and understanding. They represent a force both destructive and creative, pushing life toward forms we might never have predicted. Their subtle but profound influence embodies the ocean's paradox, a realm of beauty born from chaos, shaped by microscopic entities that wield enormous evolutionary power. In this, there is a haunting realization that the ocean's destiny, and perhaps ours, is intertwined with these tiny, invisible architects shaping life's future with mystery and might. So next time you think of the ocean, imagine it not only as a place of grand creatures and vast mysteries, but also as a genetic battlefield and laboratory, where viruses craft the future in whispers, and where diseases mold life in shadows. This hidden dimension invites awe and less comforting questions about what strange, virus-shaped life may thrive in the centuries ahead. It's a narrative that blends real science with eerie speculation, a story of evolution, survival, and the subtle horrors and wonders lurking beneath the waves.